They will soon identify Jesus as a troublemaker who threatens to disrupt the Pax Romana, the Roman peace.
We must always keep in mind the Roman soldiers were not far away. And for them to hear anybody talking about a kingdom other than Caesar, that sounded like the language of insurrection to them.
The Roman army is determined to keep the Jews of Jerusalem under control. Jesus is arrested and brought before Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor in Judea. He is sentenced to die by crucifixion.
I think in the perception of the Romans, Jesus is just one more troublemaker that they have to crucify. There's a long history of Romans crucifying prophetic wannabes and messianic pretenders.
To be crucified was to say that you are no better than a slave. You are worthy of death. And part of the crucifixion process, you might say the drama of crucifixion, was to scourge you.
The Roman guards treat Jesus as they would any condemned man. He is stripped of his clothing, then tied to a wooden post to be scourged.
Usually there were two Roman lictors, one standing on each side of the victim, and they would alternate as they brought this whip down across the back of the victim.
The severity of the beating is determined by the viciousness of the soldiers.
We don't really know how Jesus was scourged. The Gospels don't give us great detail, but it's quite possible that it was fairly severe because Jesus dies within a day, and he dies before nightfall.
He was beaten nearly to death. He was macerated. He was bruised. He had massive damage to the backside and massive damage to the intercostal muscles and massive damage to the lungs and the kidneys themselves through this bruising process.
When the scourging is finished, Jesus' back is an unrecognizable mass of torn and bleeding tissue. This brutal beating will dramatically affect the final hours of Jesus' life. Today, scientists are piecing together the ancient evidence in hopes of learning exactly how Jesus dies on the cross.